Greetings, folks. This is Xiao-Fury. You might hear some noise in the background because I'm driving. But I wanted to make an audio about the Rings of Power. Now, first thing first, I have not sat through any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I did see, I don't know, 2 parts of The Hobbit. Was that a 3-part movie? Now, according to the Peter Jackson / Tolkien fans, The Hobbit was not very good. I watched the Desolation of Smog, or whatever that dragon name was. And my sister dragged me along. She got me caught up with what was going on in the movie. And I watched it in 3D, wearing those obnoxious glasses on top of my already glasses, so that was kind of annoying. But I mean, I liked the movie. Had no idea what was going on, but the movie was entertaining, even though I was absolutely falling asleep on the last scene of the Desolation of Smeg, or whatever you call that dragon. I fell asleep because I was really comfortable, but I don't know. I liked the movie. No, but let's go back to Rings of Power. As far as Lord of the Rings, I remember now that I actually glimpsed at one of the movies. I couldn't tell you which one because that was a 3-part movie, if I'm not mistaken. And there was this scene, I don't know none of the characters' names, so bear with me. If any of y'all seen Lord of the Rings, y'all can probably identify the scene and the characters' names. So this guy, I think he was a king or a prince or something, and he has a elven girlfriend. She has long, black, beautiful hair, and she's really, really pretty. I don't know what happened to her, if she was dead or they got separated. And I'm not sure if the elves even liked the pairing of humans and elves together. I'm not sure, but the king was really missing his girlfriend, or whoever that woman was to her. Him, rather. And there was a scene where, you know, he was, I don't know, were they going to war or something? And he saw this blonde woman. And she was looking at him with romantic eyes, and he was flirting with her and looking at her with romantic eyes. And that intrigued me. I'm not a huge fan of romance, but I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit intriguing. But as I watched it, I think a war was happening, and the girl was really at this point in love with the king / prince, or whoever he is or was. And I remember that scene where he brutally turned her down. He said something on the lines of, the guy that you're in love with is a fantasy, or something like that. And I was like, oh, well, excuse you, sir. Okay, because it turns out he's still missing his elven girlfriend, wife, or whoever she is. And I'm just like, oh, but you played on this girl's emotions, got her hopes high. And then when she wanted to make a move, oh, wait a minute, I'm still in love with my elf girl. Actually, that kind of ticked me off. But the girl, the blonde-haired girl, who, again, helped me because I don't know the name of these characters. You know, to make a quick point, Rings of Power, they're harping so much on, oh, it's women, strong women, and all this stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, that same blonde girl, after being brutally turned down, you know, she was heartbroken, but she didn't remain heartbroken. If I remember correctly, she became something of a warrior princess or a warrior woman. And if I'm not mistaken, it was frowned upon, but she took on a leadership role. She actually became very helpful to whatever type of battle was going on. And, you know, I didn't keep up with the movie because it is 3 movies, and I am terrible when it's coming to watching movies. I kind of, just not my cup of tea all the time. But even though I've seen that little much of Lord of the Rings, and I've seen some of the other battles when the elf guy, Legolas, I don't know how to pronounce those names. He had a rivalry with the dwarf guy, and they fighting, and it all looked cool to me. And it makes me want to know more about, what was this Lord of the Rings about? You know, yeah, I know about the hobbits, Frodo, Sam, and the wizard guy, Gandalf. All the the things that I witnessed were, it seems like a very good movie. I guess that was just one long disclaimer to the Tolkien and Peter Jackson fans that, look, before I say anything about the show, I'm really not a huge fan, and I never read the books, haven't watched the movie completely, but I still got my opinions on this Rings of Power stuff. You ought to call it the Dream Ring Circus of Power. It's just... I mean, I've been watching several videos, and at first it seems like the crew, the producers, as well as the actors and actresses, they were saying that it wasn't gonna be based on today's politics or culture, but yet this one plus size black lady whose name I don't even know, oh goodness, she keeps on harping on about the dwarf of color. I mean, y'all know that I'm a black woman, and I cannot stand this person of color tag that they put on black people. When did we become people of color? Why aren't we black people anymore? But anyway, I digress. It's just that woman, she just constantly goes on about the race of her character, the gender of her character, and that she believes it is so outright important in Lord of the Rings or Rings of Power to have this black dwarf character. And from the videos I watched, I'm hearing that she was supposed to be bearded. That female dwarves have beards just like their male counterparts. That's weird, but that's the way it's described according to Tolkien, I guess. Oh, but this is so obnoxious that the woman who wants black people to watch this show so much that she can't, how can I say this? It's like, just because you got black characters, okay, big whoop. You got a black dwarf queen and a Harfoot that's black. Okay, so what? What will their characters be? You know, and that's the one thing that we're not being told by these actors and actresses. The only thing we're being told is that woman power, black dwarf, and she's black, and she's a female, and she's black, and she's a female, and, you know, because us black people, we won't watch the show unless they have black people in it. Where do they get this from? Where are they getting this from? I'm pretty certain that Lord of the Rings have a following of many different races. I mean, let's take it back all the way to the classic comics. Spider-Man, Superman, the Avengers. My brothers, who are black, by the way, were huge comic book fans. We had the trading cards. They had a closet packed full of comic books. Some of the pages falling apart. You know, when we had ourselves a good gallery of comic books and cards, which sadly all perished in Hurricane Katrina. But okay, we're black, and we looked at those comic books and trading cards, not even caring about the race of the characters. It was just fun to read, fun to look at, fun collecting the trading cards. Nobody cared about race. But these activists, because they're actors, but yeah, activists is perfect for their title. They make, like, particularly the big black fat lady, oh, we black people, we just won't watch it unless there's representation for us. Garbage. Okay, if you want to talk about representation, then why did y'all get rid of Aunt Jemima? Why did y'all get rid of Uncle Ben? Those were black icons. And it represented food and the warmness. I mean, how can I... can't get my words right, forgive me. It's just that you talk about representation all the while deleting our image out of society anyway. But we have to watch Rings of Power because it is black dwarven fat lady. Oh my goodness. And also, I'm really not a fan of Tolkien's books because I never read them, so I'm not going to pretend to act like one. But it seems like the actors are deliberately going against what the man said not to do with his stories. Again, because they insist on saying that without representation, nobody's going to watch it. But if I'm not mistaken, Lord of the Rings is fantasy. There are no real elves in real life. Yeah, sorry, they really don't exist. Okay, they got short people in life. But, hobbits were all fantasy-like characters. So it's just like, well, what is this representation you're talking about in a world of fantasy? These people are so out of touch. And I know trailers aren't supposed to expose the whole movie, but it's just like for almost every Rings of Power trailer I've seen, you don't even know what's going on. They just constantly keep harping on the fact that there's going to be change, and taking note from something that was said in one of the later Star Wars fiascos, kill the past, burn it if you have to, or burn the past, kill it if you have to, something like that. And there was a similar line used in one of the trailers. So we already know what's going on here. This has nothing to do with the original author's work. And they want us to forget about it, kill it, and that's not going to work. So, watching the memes that are coming out of this fiasco is just simply hilarious. And this is coming from somebody who hasn't actually sat down and watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy or read the books. Like I said in the beginning, I only saw bits and pieces of it. And even those bits and pieces were interesting. Hollywood and their obsession with just gender swapping, race swapping, and of course there's gonna be LGBT in it. Me as a black woman, it's just extremely embarrassing that black people have been duped and deceived, and this is what they think of us. If I'm not mistaken, this is what racism is. When you have a strange fixation on skin color only and nothing else matters. I mean, it's ridiculous. And there's a side of me that wants to watch this show just to see how bad it's going to be. But the trailers and how the actors are actually running their mouths, giving away that it will be politically motivated, even though they said that it wouldn't be. There's a side of me that want to watch it just for that horrible event only. It's gonna be comedy gold, but I want to tell everybody, resist. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. I know you want to, not because you want to give it praise. This is just one of those days. It's so bad that, well, I'm not going to say it's so bad it's good. This might be a popcorn entertaining failure that everybody wants to watch. I mean, can they pull off a Sharknado? Which, after, sci-fi, I got to give them they props, big time props. How they were able to turn a disaster, Sharknado, because the name itself just so amazingly stupid. There's nobody behind me, you crazy car. But Sharknado was comedy perfection, self-aware, and they took full advantage of it, and it became a sensation for that short time. Now that I'm at my destination, it's almost time for me to shut up now. I want to watch Rings of Power too, but not for viewership sake. So maybe I'll just continue watching the review videos, grab a hot bag of buttery popcorn and enjoy, because this is going to be hilarious. Hilariously bad, but hilarious nonetheless. So that's all for now, folks. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents about the disaster that will be Rings of Power. So see y'all later, and I'll talk to y'all soon.